Basic way to deal with people. I go fishing in Maine every summer. Personally, I love strawberries with cream. But as far as I know, fish like earthworms. I don't know why. But when I go fishing, I don't think about what I want. I only think about what the fish want. So instead of using strawberries with cream as bait, I shake the earthworms in front of the fish and say, "Don't you want to eat this?" Shouldn't we use the same common sense when catching people? People are interested in what they want. But no one else is interested in what you want. Everyone is like you except you. We are all interested in what we want. In our lives, we meet various people and build human relationships. Unless we live on a desert island, dealing with people is very important. And we need to think about how to build relationships, how to get people to like them, how to get what you want from others. Relationships start with making friends without making enemies. Dale Carnegie Endowment on Human Relations deals with key principles of dealing with people. I hope this book helps you deal with people. Chapter 1: To get honey, don't kick the hive. John Wanamaker, who set up a department store in his name, once confessed, "I already realized how foolish it was to scold others 30 years ago. I had no time to grumble about the fact that God did not share the gift of intelligence fairly, trying to overcome my limitations." Wanamaker learned this lesson early on. But it wasn't until I wasted more than 30 years in the world that I was able to vaguely think that people wouldn't criticize themselves for anything. No matter how wrong they were, criticism is useless. It makes people defensive and self-justifies themselves. Moreover, it is dangerous. It hurts people's pride that they value, undermines their self-esteem, and evokes hostility. The German military does not allow anyone to immediately file a lawsuit or criticize something after it occurs. The soldier who has been subjected to something unjust has the opportunity to wait until the next day and calm down. If you file a lawsuit immediately, you will be punished. When engaging with people, keep in mind that people are not logical animals. We are dealing with emotional animals that are full of prejudice, that move with pride and vanity, and criticism sparks dangerous flames. This spark causes the gunpowder of pride to explode, which sometimes speeds up death. For example, General Leonard Wood was reprimanded and denied permission to go to France. But he died shortly after suffering a cut to his pride. Thomas Hardy was one of the greatest writers who enriched English literature. Even Hardy was severely criticized and forever broke the pen. English poet Thomas Chatterton committed suicide after enduring criticism. Benjamin Franklin was tactless when he was young, but later served as a French ambassador, making good people and showing a knack for human relations. What was his secret to success? "I don't gossip about anyone," he said. "I speak well of everyone I know." Even fools can criticize, and complain. In fact, most fools criticize, and complain. However, people with good character and self-control understand and forgive others. Carlyle says, "You can tell whether that person is a great man or not by the way you deal with people that are useless. Instead of criticizing people, try to understand them. Let's try to understand why they did it. It will be much more helpful and fun than criticism. In doing so, empathy, tolerance, and kindness become ingrained. When you know everything, you forgive everything." Chapter 2: Important Secrets of Human Relationships. There is only one way in the world that you can make someone else do something. Have you thought about it? It's making someone else want to do it. Of course, you can threaten someone else's side with a knife and make them come out. You can even threaten your employees to fire you and cooperate. But as soon as you turn around, their attitude will change. You can also beat and threaten your child to do what you want. But these unsophisticated methods can lead to extremely depressing results. What do people want? When basic needs are met in life, most people long for themselves to be important. It is what Freud calls the desire to become a great person. It is what Dewey calls the desire to become an important person. Because of this desire for the feeling that he was important, a food store clerk who had not learned and lived in poverty. Studied law books he had found at the bottom of a jar he had bought for 50 cents. Perhaps you have heard of the food store clerk's name. His name was Lincoln. Because of this desire to feel important, Charles Dickens wrote a novel that will go down in human history. Because of this desire, Christopher Wren designed an artistic stone building. Because of this desire, Rockefeller accumulated a lot of money that he could not even use up. Because of this desire, the richest family in your area builds houses that are larger than necessary. Because of this desire, you try to wear trendy clothes, drive a recent vehicle, and talk about your smart kids. History is full of interesting examples of famous people who struggled to get the impression that they were important. Even George Washington wanted people to call him Mr. President of the United States, and Columbus begged for the title of Admiral and Governor of India. It is said that Yekaterina I would not even open a letter that did not say, Her Majesty the Queen and Mrs. Lincoln shouted at General Grant like a tiger at the White House. Let's imagine what kind of miracle can happen when you truly acknowledge people's insane longing for something like this, given that some people are so desperate for their preciousness that they actually go crazy to get it. As far as I know, there are only two people in history who have been paid $1 million a year: Walter Chrysler and Charles Schwab. Schwab said the reason he receives so much money is because of his ability to handle people. He says this, "I think the ability to inspire my subordinates is the best asset I have. The way to bring out the best one's abilities is through recognition and encouragement. Nothing kills ambition like criticism from a superior. I don't criticize anyone. I believe you have to be motivated to work. So I want to praise, and I'm not going to scratch it. If there's something I really like, I give it a heartfelt compliment and spare the compliment." Emerson said, "Everyone I meet is in some ways better people than me, in that I have something to learn from them." Wouldn't it be much more correct to an ordinary person like us if the words could have been applied to a great philosopher like Emerson? Let's stop thinking about our achievements, our desires. Let's try to understand other people's strengths. Let's forget about flattery. Let's be honest and give sincere recognition. Appreciate and praise others honestly. Then people will cherish your words and treasure them throughout their lives. They will repeat them for years after you forget them. Chapter 3. Invoke the other person's desire. When a man asked him how he could remain in power after all, the war's leaders Wilson, Orlando, and Clemenceau had been retired and forgotten, Lloyd George replied, one reason he was able to stay at the top was probably because he knew he needed to use bait to fit the fish. The only way in the world to influence others is to talk about what others want and show them how to get it. The next time you want someone to do something, be sure to remember that. For example, if you want your son to quit smoking, don't preach to him and say what you want. Instead, you have to show that smoking won't make the basketball team your child wants, or you won't win the 100-meter race. One of the coolest pieces of advice on the art of human relationships is as follows. If there is a secret to success, the ability to take someone else's point of view and see things not only from your point of view, but also from that person's point of view. Henry Ford. Thousands of salespeople are still struggling around today, exhausted, disappointed, and suffering from a low salary. Why? Because they always think only of what they want. The salespeople have no idea that people like you, and I don't want to buy anything. Professional workers make the same mistake. A few years ago, I visited a famous Philadelphia otolaryngology clinic. The doctor asked me what I was doing before looking at my tonsils. He wasn't interested in the size of my tonsils. I was only interested in my financial condition. How much I could help was not a major concern. His main concern was how much he could get from me. As a result, he didn't get a penny, because I left the clinic full of contempt for his lack of character. I had a father whose daughter was full of troubles. I was a phone engineer who was taking my courses. His problem was that his 3-year-old daughter didn't eat breakfast. All the usual ways of scolding, excruciating, and soothing didn't work. So the parents asked themselves, how do I make her want to eat for herself? The little one liked to imitate his mother. He tried to act like an adult. So one morning, the parents put the child on a chair and asked him to make breakfast. The father entered the kitchen. Just in time for the child to be making breakfast, the child said to the father, "Look, I'm making cereal this morning." That morning, Annie had 2 bowls of cereal. He didn't need to be mature and comforted. The child found a way to express himself in his breakfast work. Remember, arouse a fervent desire in others and you will have the whole world. Did you enjoy it? Based on the author's words and examples, the basic way to deal with people can be summarized into 3 broad categories. 1. Do not criticize, condemn, or complain. 2. Be honest and sincerely acknowledge and praise. Arouse a fervent desire in others. I hope you will also improve your relationship through this video. I support your passion.